Listen to the Tommy Schnurmacher Show live weekdays 9 to noon on CJAD 800 and CJAD.com.
Good morning and welcome back to CJAD and the Tommy Schnurmacher Show. And I am indeed James Mene of the Montreal Gazette, sitting in for Tommy this week. Been sitting in for Tommy a long time. Got to get to know a lot of you out there, people who call me. And I know, because it's come up in conversation, that some of you have been married and then got divorced. Some of you have been married several times and then got divorced. Some of you just simply got divorced after, living together. And the reality is, yes, divorce is a reality in the 21st century. It's a growing one. And the fact of the matter is, in many cases, divorces occur after children have entered the picture. And that is, for a lot of people out there, uncharted territory. One can only hope that whatever rancor, whatever problems that caused the divorce in the first place, the split up in the first place, are not visited upon those kids. But it's still a bit of a minefield. And to help us and help you perhaps be able to pick your way a little more skillfully through that minefield, we are now joined by co-parenting coach Anna Giannone. First of all, welcome to CJAD.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell me, because I've never encountered the term before, co-parenting coach means what exactly?
Well, a co-parenting coach, what I normally do is I assist co-parents and step-parents to shift their attention from their negative personal aspects of their divorce to develop a more harmonious family environment.
Is that the biggest stumbling block, though? Is that one of the big things that has to be shed? Because do people tend to hang on to the rancor even though they're around the kids?
It's always there's always conflicts.
Yeah.
And the purpose of this is to avoid conflicts because the children are a victim in this. They are the first ones who are victims of this, and they are really emotionally hurt. Don't forget, James, parents are also hurt as well.
Sure.
So what they do is they pass on their hurt to their children. And so everyone is affected in this, not only the child, but also the parents. So we need to stop it. We need to make a shift. We need to live harmoniously. And it's possible. It is.
Okay, what's the first step? Because a lot of people are right now listening to you are probably shaking their heads. But what's the first step?
Well, the first step is to focus. What is your focus point? What is the priority? And the priority here is your child. Yeah. The child is the focal point. So when we focus on the child, the conflicts will be lesser. I mean, they're gonna diminish, you know. And by focusing on the child, focusing on the child's needs, well, we don't have to think about what he said and she said and how he does or she does and how things are going. So by focusing on the child, bring the parent back. Just a minute here. What are we dealing with here? We're dealing with the child. It's referring to the child. Then things diminish.
Okay, so let me ask you though. I would imagine that any feelings of rancor, any feelings of anger, are a lot more fresh in the wake. When the divorce has just occurred. Is it possible that perhaps both parents should agree perhaps to a bit of a cooling off period before they both start dealing with the kids?
Well, the kids is there all the time.
Yeah,
man.
sure.
I mean, the kids is there, right? Even when they get divorced within a week from there, the child is always there.
Yeah.
They have to understand that whatever hurt they are feeling, because both of them are hurt, they need to put that aside. And when it comes to the child, well, let's concentrate on the child.
But isn't that, I mean, okay, let's put it aside. But how do you put it aside? Let's face it, it's not a small thing. It broke up a marriage. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, you love your child, And you'll do anything in your possible. You'll do anything just for your child.
Yeah.
I know I've done it.
Yeah.
For 29 years now. And we've been married for 29 years, and our shared custody has been very successful. Yes, you're right, James. At the beginning, it wasn't easy. Yes, we had some ups and downs. Yes, we did. But like I said, we had to come back on the path. And what was the focus? The focus here is the child.
Yeah.
Because when you see your child upset and he's manifesting himself in school or at home, his behavior is completely out of control, well, then you know there's something you're not doing right.
Let me ask you, though, because, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have encountered this in their own experience, but let's face it, you're presuming that both sides of this equation will be able to eventually to have some reasonable kind of a conversation. I'm guessing, though, there are people out there, yeah, and you're saying think of the child, but I'm guessing there are people out there who will use their child as a conduit to keep being angry at their ex-spouse.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And that's why I'm co-parenting the parents.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, how do you coach the person who's on the receiving end of that, and indeed the person who's delivering it? How do you short circuit something like that?
Well, I've developed a program. It's a step-by-step program. I do an online coaching with the parent, and with this program, I walk them through a step-by-step, and I also give them homework to do at home that they have to. After 1 week or 2 weeks, they come back to me and they said, "Okay, Anna, I tried this, and this doesn't work because I have a non-collaborative." Whatever. Okay, well, we'll try this. And seriously, honestly, we just have to be kind. Be kind and be nice.
But are there some walls that can't, in your experience, are there some walls that can't be broken down?
Yes. It takes time. It happens. It takes time. I had a client recently who his ex was completely non-collaborative, not at all. And eventually she came around slowly, but she came around.
But how did that work? How did that happen?
By just sticking to just focusing on the child. We got to stop hurting each other here. Stop being revengeful. We got to stop hurting each other. What was done in the past is the past. Yes, it hurts, but let's deal it with adults. Let's not put the child in between these conflicts. Okay, and adult conversation, we'll discuss it together, but when we're referring to the child, let's stick to the child.
How do people come to you? How do people find out about you?
On internet. I have my website. I love my website, by the way. I have a website. They can contact me by my website. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter.
So and how did you develop this expertise? I mean, it's not the kind of thing. I mean, to a certain extent, you sound like, and I've had people, mediators who've been on the show before, and usually that's in a legal context. But I mean, how do you know what to do? My personal experience,
my personal experience. Like I said earlier, I lived this for 29 years, and. It's just my personal experience, and I heard I work with clients. I hear their stories, and I can relate to them, and it worked for me. So if it works for me and my husband and with my stepson, it could work for other people.
Is it? And I mean, this is the other issue as well, because you've mentioned, you can have people who have shared custody, but you can also have new spouses, I guess. And how complicated does this get? I mean, do you actually sit down with both parties in one room? Do you take them apart? It
depends if they communicate. If they communicate, yes. If they don't communicate, no. It's individually, and that's why I wrote this article for the Huffington Post. Why you should go on a beach vacation with your ex. I went on a beach vacation with my husband's ex for the benefit of our child, my stepson, and we did it for him, and we did it also for the parents. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I do recommend it. Maybe not at the beginning of the divorce, for sure.
Yeah. Is there like a cooling off period, though? A typical cooling off period?
Yes, there is. There's also it's a transition. It's
transition. Yeah, but about how long? Is there a typical length of time?
It depends how angry you are. It depends how hurt you are. I mean, some people could take 2 years. Some people could take 20 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, the 20 years. Well,
20 years, then I don't think the kids are an issue anymore. But it's
what I mean?
That's the.
We got to be careful here, because we pass on the hurt to the kids.
Yeah, sure.
Needless to say that they're young, but they still feel it emotionally, and when they become an adult, well, it affects them too in their relationship with their girlfriend or their spouse, and then they pass it on to the next generation, to their child as well. So it does affect them, even though after 20 years or 25 years.
If people want to find out more about what you do, you've mentioned your website that you love. So where can we go online to find out more about what you do?
www.annagiannoni.com.
Anna Giannoni, and
my email is also annagiannoni.com.
Okay, and that's ANNAGIANNONE.
Correct.
So, Matt, maybe we should make a point of posting that at CJAD.com just as a reference when we talk to you. Anna Giannoni, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Good luck with the website. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, James.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800, CJAD.com.